Hello everyone, this is Joe Brewer here at the Bioparque Moncora in Barichara, Colombia, where we've been building a food forest. And what I want to show you today is how you can grow a food forest, or a forest in general, without having to plant. The planting is done by nature if you have the right ecological pathway. And so you may recall from previous videos that we've been pulling out the invasive grass. You can see here we have some more of this invasive grass that has been growing back, and we just pull it and weed it like we have been. But what's interesting is as we've prepared this soil and just left it barren, a lot of native plants have started growing. And I want to show you that they're planting themselves. The seeds were already here, or the wind disperses and spreads them here, or the birds fly over and drop them here. And that's why this ground that we cleared of all the grass about a month and a half ago, is now getting filled with all of these native plants. And you can see we've got some that are more, tall stalks that grow a little higher. Others like these here that make a nice ground cover and spread out to cover the ground. And we have them growing all around us. Over on this side, see all of this? There's a bit of the native grass standing in there that we'll need to pull, but most of that is foliage or ground cover from native plants. It's biodiverse, it's native, and it's planting itself. And I wanted to show you this because as we continue building this food forest, we're going to have the opportunity to strategically plant. And we have started doing that a little bit with volunteer plants that have come to us. Like this morning, we walked by a cactus where one of its branches had fallen off and we planted it. And so we've done some transplanting like this of some native plants, but very little. Most of this is being done by nature herself. So the idea here is that while we will populate this area with plants that have beneficial uses, first, we need to go through the ecological process of creating an ecosystem. And so we've pulled the grass and started preparing the soil, and now we're getting some ground cover and vegetation, which means we're getting a mix of like grassland prairie into bushes and shrubs, simply by making the space available and selectively weeding when the grass is coming up. And this is land we haven't been here in about 3 weeks because we were traveling to the US. And during that time, all of these grasses started growing, and we can just walk around and pluck them while leaving the little native plants behind. So here's an invasive grass and a native plant, and we just leave it there. And over time, what's going to happen is this is going to shift from primarily invasive grass, which it's been for decades, without having ecological succession. And here, simply by maintaining the area, making it available for the native plants to grow, and weeding the invasive grass as it rises, this will become a native forest ecosystem without any more help than this. And to go from being a native forest to a food forest is really about selectively planting the plants that we know have beneficial uses, those that are used to make food, to make medicine, to make clothing, to make natural fibers for other uses, and to make building and construction materials. And so the idea is over time we will build up a population of these native plants that the local people know how to use. But first, we just need to build a forest ecosystem, and the support structure of that canopy and understory, what in Spanish is called sotobosque, the forest below, or the part of the forest that's on the ground. And we're doing that by letting the native plants come in on their own. And we don't have to plant them because there's enough natural dispersion in this area, meaning there's enough ecological connectivity between this piece of land and the land right next to it. You can see across the road over there is another part of the Bioparque, and they've been planting trees and developing it for 12 years. So a lot of those seeds are able to fly and land over here, flown with the birds or with the wind. And all we do is make space for them and do maintenance by weeding the grass. So I just wanted to show you how naturally, without even needing to plant the ground cover, it will come in on its own if you just get out of the way and help it a little bit. Now, of course, if you want to accelerate the process, you can select some ground cover plants and you can plant them and do irrigation and other things. But we've actually done this just with the rainfall. And while we do have these water retention tanks here that will collect rainwater, we haven't built the roof for them, so they don't have much water in them yet. So I just wanted to show you that even in this early stage of the process, we're growing a forest by letting nature do most of the work. So I hope this brings you some inspiration and maybe a little insight into just how easy this can be to do, and that it inspires you to go out and regenerate some degraded land where you live.